Good morning. Let me turn this music down a little bit. Welcome to the Wednesday show, Hump Day, on the Morning Night Live. It's Wednesday, also sometimes known as Woke Wednesday, which today definitely qualifies in that category. Yes, I know the music's still a little loud. I'm turning it down. I tried to earlier. There we go. That should be a little better. Is that better? Kind of feeling smooth today, but I think this next one, I can't remember if this next one's a little more. No, this is sad. I don't want sad to rest. What's all this happy? I want happy. Let's go happy. Let's do this one. Is this happy? Ah, yeah, that's nice. Anyway, it's Wednesday on the Morning Night Live. Running a little behind, so I'm gonna try to get this thing rolling along. I got quite a few tabs open, but not a whole lot of topics. Just the one that was trending this morning is the one that I really want to talk about, but I got a few little clips and news items here and there, breaking stuff, so we'll get out of that in just a second. But before that, obviously, it's time to play the intro. Play the intro, Johnny. Johnny.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight.
Alrighty then, shall we begin? Stop the music. Now, thank you. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internets. And welcome to the Dawg Knight Channel, where we talk about the trending topics of the day and the news and things that are news and sometimes things that are silly. I hope yesterday, when I finished my show with what was a weird kind of creepypasta sort of vibe, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm not going to do that too often. Lady Boomer said she listened to it and she goes, well, yeah, it's funny, but you don't want to do that too much. Well, I'll do my best. Anyway. Oh, wait a minute, doctor. The tumor is dying by bits and pieces. My body is expelling it. I am winning. Fuck cancer. Yay, Maddie! That's awesome. You just get a bell for that alone. Good. She watched the show from chemo yesterday, or was heading into chemo, and that is good news, Maddie. I'm really glad to hear that. So, I don't remember what I was gonna say. I'm just a little verklempt about that. That's good news. Anyway, I hope y'all are having a good morning. Let's kick it off with me saying good morning to everybody, because that's what I do, and then we'll get into some of the fuckery. I guess there goes my. Did this show even start yet? Wait, what the hell? What the hell's going on here? Okay, hang on. Okay, we are live, right? I had to make sure. I was trying to reset something here, and it made it look like I wasn't started yet. That's weird. Anyway, yes, James Boomer Vision. So anyway, there. Let's get rid of the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day, since we don't have one yet, and say good morning to the troops. First in the chat today was our friend Tyler Alexander, who gets the first bell. The bell being your first, not the first bell, since you already hit it once. Also, good morning to Maddie. Again, we're very happy for you today. Good morning to Advocatus Diablo, the Devil's Advocate, GDSOB, Plague Dr. Zach, a.k.a. Zach Osborne. Good morning, Jay Pylon. What's up? My pockets stay pregnant. Good. Pregnant pockets are good, but pregnant men, that's a whole nother thing. Good morning, Black Hebrew Israelite. What's going on here? Why isn't
That's right.
There we go. Oh, shit. There we go. Mike Savage, Blarg. This is Kyle. Hello, Chad. People in Dawg. Well, hello to you too, Kyle. Also, good morning, too. Ronan is in the house. He gets one of these. Oh, I didn't give Maddie one. This one's for Maddie. They're a team, by the way. So it's good to see both of them in the chat. Also, good morning to Let's see. Who else is here? Attack Alpaca's in the house. What's up? Good morning to San James Colley. Good morning and happy hump day. Yes. And also Tyler F. Hello. Good morning to Keenan and Tall Person. Now, I know there's a few others here who might be just lurking, working, driving, or whatever you're doing. Be careful. Keep your hands on the wheel. Do not, work any heavy equipment while you're listening to the show. Or if you're working heavy equipment, pay attention to the equipment and not to me. That's more important that you keep your fingers. And, I just want everyone to have a safe and happy morning. So, let's get into it right now. So, first, a few things that are just kind of trending in the world this morning. Boomer Vision, that doesn't make sense. Please explain this. No, I'm not going to explain it. Fine tan I've got. Yeah, yes, I have been on this. I noticed that when I looked. I didn't really notice so much when I've been out in the sun a lot. We've been hanging by the pool, doing all this other stuff, been working out in the yard a lot. And I just noticed, I am getting dark. It's like, well, see, look at that. See, this is all light because I wear t-shirts all the time. I should probably start wearing tank tops so I don't look like a farmer, you don't want a black guy looking like a farmer and shit. But anyway, hello ZZA and Simon Wolfwood also, and Anna Lynn also. So what was I saying? Well, I don't know. Tall Person, thank you for being the sponsor of the show. And Tall Person, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much. Tall Person with the first sponsor of the show today through Streamlabs, which is the pdognight.live link up there. If you can watch the show, you can be in the chat, and you can do I say priority chats. Priority chats is people who sponsor the show. You get a priority chat. Thank you, Tall Person, for dropping a deuce in the tip jar. It says, Happy National French Fry Day. Oh, I got to find me a McDonald's today, because really the only really good French fries are a fresh batch of McDonald's French fries. Now, I'm not knocking those coated fries they have at Burger King. I'm not knocking the crinkle fries or the curly fries they have at Arby's. I'm not knocking I think they have kind of crinkle fries at Culver's and whatever. But the very best French fries in the world, and they're not made in France, because in France is it pommes frites? That's just fried potatoes. But the best French fries, if you get a fresh, hot batch of McDonald's French fries with just the right amount of salt, there's nothing like them. They're the best. I'm sorry. Don't even try to tell me there's something better. I mean, you can get some of the greasy, not greasy, but like In-N-Out Burger has those like natural cut fries. Those are okay. I like those. Those are good. And those are good really if they're done nice and crisp and they're fresh. But I don't know. I don't know why I like McDonald's French fries. I just do. Is that weird? I don't know. Anyway, real quick, thank you also to Tall Person and Simon Wolfwood for retweeting the show on Twitter. Please share the stream, hit the like button. If you like what we do, you can also do enhanced, or what did I call it before? Prioritized chats at pdognight.live through Streamlabs or YouTube Super Chats, or you can sponsor the show a couple other ways. Zablé is in the house. Hello, Zablé. All right, let's get into the news and what's trending. Now, wait a minute. What happened here? That's not right. That's not... Oh, that's my extra tab I opened up because I always open up an extra tab for one reason or another. Anyway, top of the list today, and it was trending number one when I got home this morning to do the show. The single word inflation was trending on Twitter this morning, and if you look under the inflation hashtag on Twitter, oh, you can't even see that, can you? Let's try this. That was dumb. There we go. All right. The inflation hashtag on Twitter. U.S. inflation climbed to a new 41-year high of 9.1%, the Consumer Price Index shows, as gas prices surge. Now, this is, again, when they tell you this, let's open up the Yahoo article on this, because if you may have noticed, Gas prices have actually gone down a bit in the last week. And there's some people who are really glad to tell you that. I'll show you that in a minute. Good morning, Man Squatch and Crackshot. Good morning. So here's the Yahoo article. U.S. inflation climbs to new 41 here. Blah, blah, blah. Surging gasoline prices last month. And this is last month's inflation when they do the monthly inflation report. And I'm sure you'll see that the gas prices have gone down a little bit. But anyway, surging gas prices last month drove the rate of U.S. inflation to nearly 41-year peak of 9.1%, offering little hope of help soon for Americans suffering from the high cost of living. I don't know why it's making me do this. Oh, good God. Is this really? I don't want Market Watch. Oh, I have to do that? Is this going to change? Oh, it takes me to a whole new damn page. Holy shit. That was not my, okay, here we go. Oh, I see what they did. This is a Yahoo article. I'm gonna get rid of the Yahoo article because you don't need it. When I put the tabs, by the way, all these articles and whatnot will be in the link in the description down below that I'll update at the end of the show. The Consumer Price Index jumped 1.3% last month, marking the third time in the last 4 months it's topped 1%. So when they say 1.1%, it's year over year, and then this is the monthly increase in prices is topped 1%. Economists polled by the Wall Street Journal had forecast a 1.1% advance, so it was a little higher than they were expecting. Higher prices for everything range from fuel to rent. May prod the Federal Reserve to sharply raise a U.S. key interest rate again when senior officials meet toward the end of this month. By raising rates, the central bank aims to cool off the economy just enough to bring down inflation, ideally without triggering a recession, which is, they might be a little too late for that. But that's also part of the reason why gas prices come down, because there's a little bit of slowing of the economy, and sometimes that'll cause the demand for fuel to go down, which causes the price of fuel to go down, which is not necessarily a good thing. Yes, but because you can fill your tank for a little bit less, but it's not that much compared to, 2 years ago when it was half the price it is now, even though it's come down the last week. But that's a whole nother story. By the way, I do have my cup of coffee and I need it right now. There you go. There's and that's none of my business. Anyway, so yet many economists are doubtful that the Fed can succeed in achieving what is referred to as a soft landing. But the CPI report wasn't entirely a downer. Well, why is that? Well, the so-called core rate of inflation, which omits food and energy, rose by somewhat smaller 0.7%. Oh, that's great. I consider everything else only went up a little bit less than everything else. Anyway, and let's see, that was also above Wall Street's forecast, but the increase at the core rate over the past year slowed to 5.9% from 6%. So a whole 0.1% in May and a recent high of 6.5% in March. The Fed views the core rate as the more accurate measure of future inflation trends because gas and food prices tend to go up and down quickly and usually don't stay high for very long. Well, don't plan on that being a fact because, boy, I'm just telling you, you might want to start stocking up on some stuff that you can put in a basement shelf or something just to be able to, because the fertilizer prices hit the food commodities that are coming out this year, and it may only be this year. Just depends on. It seems like they're opening up shipping lanes for the Russians, at least in other parts of the world. So maybe overall world prices are going to come down in some commodities, but this year, when it comes to winter, oh boy, if you're one of those people who use heating oil in the East Coast, gird your loins. And also, food prices this year, whoo boy, look out by the end of this year. But anyway, let's see, at the Feds, blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, if you want to read the rest of that report, you can read that one on your own. Let's see, what do we got here? Thank you. Oh, it's FTG Farms. Now, FTG Farms, I'm doing kind of 80s pop theme here on most of the commercials. So we're going to do, let's try. Why are all these so, I'm looking at all these choices. I got all these romantic and smooth and laid back. I don't want laid back. This is FTG Farms. FTG Farms needs something to happen. Oh, wait. Let's see. By the way, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm choosing music for FTG Farms donation here. The what did I call it earlier? A prioritized chat. I keep changing the name of that. I don't know why, but I want something a little bit happy. Let's try for is 90s pop all like just gooey? Oh, there we go. I kind of like that. Thank you, FTG Farms, for dropping a small bullet in the tip jar, also known as Tyre Alexander. Hello. In partnership with Mike Savage, we would like to announce FTG Green. When you reach, you have a handy bottle of Guinness and someone pisses you off. FTG Green. Tell them to go fuck themselves, Irish style. Get a bit of fuck with FTG Farms and FTG Green. Thank you, FTG Farms. I hope I read that right. I was trying to make it make sense. So, all right. Thank you, FTG Farms. All right, there you go. All right. So that was the thank you very much. If you don't know what to say, if you don't have anything to add to the normal conversation, ads like that are fantastic because it takes some creativity and some drive. And if there's anyone good at writing these ads, it is Tyre Alexander. And I always enjoy those types of ads and donations. So thank you very much for sponsoring the show, FTG Farms, aka Tyre. So, all right. Next, other things trading. So besides, so inflation's trading also, obviously. Why is this doing this? Why did it do that again? Oh, I don't want the intro. Whew, that would have been a mistake. So also consumer price index is trending, obviously. Prices, we already know that the prices increased from 9.1% from a year earlier in the annual rate of inflation. 8.6% the prior month, and the largest gain since November 1981. The Labor Department's Consumer Price Index showed Wednesday. They tell you it's worldwide. Well, yeah, I mean, there's inflation all over the world, but, Oh, and this, wait, what? According to the Consumer Price Index report for 2022, June inflation for Ghana is now at 29.8%. So be glad you're not in Ghana, but a lot of that is due to world markets. And when things are scarce, it's a challenge around the world. So also trending today, let's see, what's this? Harrison Ford is trending. Not because of anything bad happening to him, but now get this. Harrison Ford is 80 years old today. I'm just going to let that sit there for a second for all of you to go, what? Say what? 80 years old. Does anyone feel like, what the fuck happened? Oh my God, he's 8. That means if he's 80 years old, I mean, come on, I'm thinking, because everything, when you think of Harrison Ford, you think Star Wars, or you think, Indiana Jones, and you just get kind of stuck in that mode. And even when he was in like The Fugitive, you realize, let's just put this into perspective. Let's figure out what year The Fugitive, starring Fugitive, starring Harrison Ford. What year was that movie made? Let's see. Action, crime, drama, Dr. Richard Kimball, blah, 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 blah. The Fugitive came out in 1993. 1993. Star Wars wasn't Star Wars 1977? And I don't know what time when the first Indiana Jones movie was. So, The Fugitive I remember going to see that movie. Did I see it in the theater? I might have. I think I did. I used to go to movies still then. My kids were. That was the year before my daughter was born. 1993. That was 30 years ago. Almost 30 years ago. The Fugitive. That was one of his later movies. Now he's done some movies since then. Wasn't Air Force One? Wasn't that one of those? One is he in that? But whatever. Anyway, Harrison Ford, one of the iconic actors of our era. And one of these. Now this is an interesting pic that they had in this where it's trending. Is this picture right here of several iconic actors of our age? Where you got here Tom Hanks. Who's that guy? That's a guy that flies planes, right? Jack Nicholson, Brad Pitt, and this guy. So yeah, I know that's why am I blanking on him? Mr. Possible. What the fuck's his name? I can't think of his name. Anyway, Harrison Ford in the back. Interesting. They put. Oh fuck it. I don't know. Why am I? Oh my god, I'm embarrassed. Okay, enough of this shit. Let's just move on. You were someone was the one-armed man. It was the one-armed man. Anyway, Tom Cruise. God, why couldn't I think of Tom Cruise's name? But who's the other guy? The guy that was in American X or whatever. Ed Norton. Yeah, that's the guy I couldn't remember his name. Anyway, that's trending day. Also, Uvalde's trending day, and this is not for a good reason. Of course, Uvalde has been a bad reason ever since that terrible incident at school. Apparently, there's new video of this Uvalde incident, and I'm not going to play them, but you want to watch the video here. Apparently, officers. Let's we'll open the. These men in uniform allowed children to be massacred. Uvalde school surveillance video shows officers standing idly by while children screamed during the massacre. I really don't understand. And you'll be able to see the video. It makes no sense. It makes no sense that these officers, nobody went in and did something. Now, I know that a lot of people are saying, go, they need to disband the Uvalde Police Department. But remember, this is a police department that the first police department that responded was the school police department. The schools have their own police department. But I just don't get it. You don't even have to be. Oh, one of the wild pictures is one of the guys. They show you see him in the video and he's on his phone, looking at his phone, and his phone screensaver is of the Punisher. That's freaking ironic, first of all. But a lot of people talking about Uvalde. Some people. Let's see. Leaked Uvalde surveillance video shows gunmen enter school and open. Here, let's just open the post-millennial article here, because it's the first one on here. Let's see. Surveillance video shows the shooter calmly walking into the building and carrying out the attack. Police who followed minutes later congregated in the hallway with their weapons as the massacre took place. Another officer can be seen using hand sanitizer on the wall while another stands idly by, leans against the wall looking at his phone. Gunman Salvador, let me click that off. Why? I don't want to donate. Gunman Salvador Ramos can be seen walking towards the building as a woman inside the school yells, telling students to get in their rooms. Upon entering, Ramos walks calmly down the hallway before turning to enter a classroom. Just before he opens the door, a student sees him from afar and runs away. In the following 2.5 minutes, Ramos unloads over 100 rounds of his AR-15. Police enter the building 3 minutes later and stagger themselves in the hallway as shots continue to ring from within the classroom. Instead of attempting to break in, however, officers retreat. Even when reinforcements arrive half an hour later with ballistic shields, no attempts to apprehend the gunman are made. Many on the scene thought the classroom door was locked, a claim that was since been proven false. 77 minutes after Ramos entered the school, officers finally took action, barging into the classroom and shooting him. Sheriff's Deputy Felix Rubio, whose daughter was murdered, can be seen at one point trying to get closer to the classroom door, only to be restrained by two officers. While Ramos carried out his rampage, one officer checked his phone while another nonchalantly applied hand sanitizer. Blame for what Texas Department of Public Safety Director Steve McCraw referred to as an abject failure on the part of law enforcement has been placed at the feet of Pete Arredondo, the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Chief. So it is the school police who... I don't care who it was. I'm sorry. You got a gun. And you're in the building. You need to get your ass in there. And that's your job, to risk your life for those kids. I don't understand it, and nobody can understand it. And as you look at the comments on this, why Nate the lawyer? Why did law enforcement lie about it? Up here, these men in uniform allowed children to be massacred. Down here, I mean, and it's across the spectrum of political leanings. Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm sick from watching this video of the cops in the Uvalde school shooting. My dad was a cop who had to kill a man to save lives. Thank God he wasn't this kind of coward. He would have gladly given his life to save even one child. Straight up. It's maddening, and I'm not going to play the video, but there's if you want, this is just a full list of people who are talking about it, and I'll have that in the link down below at the end of the show. So real quick, good morning, Kessler. Oh my God, Gamer Valine. Where have you been, my friend? I'm so glad to see you in the chat. Welcome back. Good morning, Rick Hashbringer, or just Rick for those who are in the know. And good morning, Eddie Haskell. Nice to have you all here. Oh, an Asia Research Director. I see you too. And Asan. Bunch of people showed up in the last few minutes. So good to see you all. Yeah, these, oh my God. These guys, I would say any of those officers, I'm at the point, I don't know what you would charge these officers with. But they should all be fired and charged. But I don't even know. I don't know if there's a law that law. Well, again, we already know that law enforcement is not required to do something. There's been cases in the court. I'm sorry. This is your job, and FTG to all those guys. I don't care if it's Thursday or not. Also trending today, or at least, let's do an update on Jill Biden, by the way. Jill Biden, the First Lady of the United States of America, has apologized for calling the Hispanic community as unique as breakfast tacos. Why are you so angry at the house? Good morning. And Septus Wolf. First Lady Jill Biden. Okay, now wait a minute. This headline's false. This headline is false. Listen very carefully as I read this article and tell me why the headline is false. Jill Biden apologizes for calling Hispanic community as unique as breakfast tacos. Now I'm going to read the article. First Lady Jill Biden apologized on Tuesday after saying the Hispanic community was as unique as breakfast tacos during a speech on Monday. Quote, the First Lady apologizes that her words conveyed anything but pure admiration and love for the Latino community, tweeted Michael La Rosa, Biden's press secretary. Biden's comment money. Now, did you catch that? His spokesman apologized on behalf of Joe Biden. That's very different than Jill Biden herself apologizing. Biden's comments on Monday came during a speech at the 2022 Unidos U.S. Annual Conference in San Antonio titled Siempre Adelante, Our Quest for Equity. Now, this whole conference itself pissed me off. Oh, yes, I forgot. Anyway, this whole conference itself pisses me off because our quest for equity. Define equity. When you say equity? When you say equity, what do you mean? And by the way, if you hear the word equity, run. So anyway, the First Lady made the remark commending the former work of Unidos President Raul Jaguera, whom President Biden awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Oh my God, they gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to the founder of La Raza? Oh my God, because that's what this Unidos what is it called? Uno Dos US. That's the new name of La Raza because they were getting a lot of shit for the name La Raza. Anyway, so her spokesman apologized on her behalf. Yippee skippy. Anyway, I was in Nebraska last week. Went to the Henry Dorley Zoo. Oh, yes. It's a very nice zoo, isn't it? That might be my second favorite zoo in the country. It's a great zoo. The Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo is fantastic. And really just a half step behind the San Diego Zoo. It is just amazing. And part of it is because Mutual of Omaha, when there used to be a show on TV Sundays at, I want to say 7 o'clock Eastern time, called Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins. And it was one of those popular shows on TV, just him out there teaching about animals. He'd go out in the wild sometimes, and sometimes he'd be teaching it from his desk. And he had Jim, the guy who carried the animals around. He used to always go on Johnny Carson. And that show put Mutual of Omaha on the map. Made it a giant, at one point it was a top 10 insurance company. And because of that show, the Omaha Zoo got donations from around the world. Mutual of Omaha put a lot of money into the zoo, and there's a whole Marlon Perkins memorial there. I mean, it's a big deal, the Omaha Zoo. And it's other than the San Diego Zoo is there's nothing like the San Diego Zoo, but the Omaha Zoo is fantastic. So anyway, good for you. You got to go to the Omaha Zoo. That's a great zoo. I love that zoo. All right, let's move on. Let's see, because I got to get to the main topic today. Anyway, so yeah, there's the link to the tweet. Jill Biden apologizes for calling Hispanic community as unique as tacos. Now, some people are talking about this because now I don't know if this is supposed to compare Joe Biden to Trump for eating a taco salad on Cinco de Mayo. I'll just put this right here to jog memories. Of course, you can't get through any even discussion of the current president or his family without someone bringing up Donald Trump. So there you go. This is ridiculous. Mrs. Biden gave a compliment to the food in Texas, and the right goes nuts. Yeah, the right? Whoa. Yes, the National Association of Hispanic Journalists was one of the prominent people criticizing this. But anyway, all right, we'll move on. Then I just have some random tweets about the inflation. Well, here's this is your daily Ben Shapiro. Ron Klain, who's, I think, Joe Biden's biggest advisor, is retweeting a bunch of things. 29 days straight of declining gas prices. We're now down 40 cents a gallon from the peak, with Americans spending $150 million less on gasoline, less in capital letters, on gasoline today alone versus June 14th. National average $4.63 a gallon with over 10,000 stations at $3.99 or less. We will fall under $4.60 by the weekend. Oh, joy! I'm so excited. We're going to have down below $4.60 by the end of the week. Wait a minute. $4.60? Should I be celebrating that? It still costs over $100 to fill my tank. Down a whole 40 cents. Yeah, when you were getting back, when are we getting back to $2.20 a gallon? Exactly. I mean, good God. But, you got to make it look like Biden did something. By the way, have you noticed as gas prices come down, you hear a lot more rhetoric about people, how much Joe Biden has done to bring down the price of gas. Do you remember when it was going up and the mantra was, the president doesn't have anything to do with rising gas prices. So when it's bad news, oh, no, that the president has nothing to do with that. But when it's good news, oh, look how much the president has done. Oh, joy. Yes, you get a clown horn. Fremont has a lot of Mexican restaurants now that the chicken plant opened. Yeah, Yes, it does. Well, and Fremont's pretty much a suburb of Omaha now, as far as Omaha's expanded west. But yeah, there's a lot of Hispanic brothers and sisters in Omaha, both on the south side of Omaha, which is always actually the south side of Omaha has always had a lot of Hispanic people, but also in farther the west end of Omaha too. Good morning, Nomad.
Stop. Hammer time.
All right, let's keep going. Other tweets of note today. Maya Flores, the new representative from the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, Congresswoman Maya Flores tweeted something funny where she said, as per CNN, I'm not the real deal. Maybe I'm not the right type of taco. Yes, Maya Flores, the new... and apparently CNN put out this article, Opinion. These GOP Latina candidates are not the real deal. So that's why that's why she's ripping on them. Oh my gosh, this scan finally finished on my damn computer. Let me fix that. All right, be done. Be done. I don't know if I should do this during a show, but that helps. Oh no. What the hell happened there? Everything went dark. That's not good. Oh no. I should have known better than what I just did. I think I just killed my stream. Not the stream. I just killed my gosh dang it. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, it closed down my entire window. Let's see if I can recover this. Okay. Oh, this is not good. Yes, restore pages, please. Anyway, I'm assuming you can still hear me, even though everything else shut down on my my computer there. Looks like it's okay. It looks like it's recovered it all. Did I lose y'all at all for a minute there? I won't even know because I can't even see the chat. Okay, let me fix this. Okay, I am still with you. Okay, good. I forgot that when you close one of these scans, it shuts down all your windows. So now that's going to take a while for them to all pop back up. Anyway, let's see if I can, let's see. So we got, that was my, there we go. Next one, here it is. As soon as it pops up, I will share it on the screen. I was doing tweets of the day. Let me get Ace back up here. That's good. All right, back to tweets of the day. Maya Flores and... Oh my God, this is annoying. Well, I'm glad you all are still with me because I don't know why. Sometimes. Oh, and this tweet. This was kind of funny. And I'm going to show you this tweet, and I'm not going to give you any context. Okay? I just want you to prepare yourself. No context. No context whatsoever. Are you ready? I don't know who this person is, but she tweeted, I love Eric Swalwell. And that's all the context you're going to get. I'm moving on. All right. Now, let's get into... everything's going to be screwed up here. That's too bad. I'm going to get into this topic at hand. So the title of the show today is Men Cannot Get Pregnant. And the reason I'm skipping a couple of news items because I want to make sure I get through these. And then if I get a chance, then I'll come back to some of these other news items. But it was trending overnight on Twitter. Men cannot get pregnant. And there's a reason. There's I was going to say there's a reason why, but then you might have to ask, well, why men cannot get pregnant? Or, oh, you know what I forgot to do? I know I forgot to do this. Ty Alexander.
You are the new
Streamlabs
Superstar sponsor of the day.
I forgot to tell you
Chinese
that.
asshole.
There you go. Anyway, all right. So, it was trending last night because of a Senate hearing. And I don't know what this, I think the Senate is a hearing on abortion, right? And so there was an interesting exchange between Josh Hawley and this woman. What is her name? Something Bridges. Anyway, you'll see the name. But I'm going to show you the exchange first, and then I will. We'll discuss this. But this is the reason men cannot get pregnant was trending on Twitter. Here we go.
Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also...
Now, just stop. Because if any of you've seen, and I don't know why I bring this up so much, but if any of you've seen Matt Walsh's movie, she reminds me of the professor there was a doctor that he talked to. They were sitting across from each other, and just the laughing condescension is kind of humorous to me. But anyway, I'm going to go back and we're going to finish this here.
So this isn't really...
Good morning, my lovely daughter's in the house. Say hi. Everyone say hi to Alyssa P.
a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so
she's just oh my God.
Is that the core of this right then?
No, Alyssa, this is as a hearing in the United States Senate. It's even better than a courtroom.
Is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic.
Okay, now this is a professor. Now, it also reminds me of the professor in the movie, where because when Matt Walsh is asking about truth, there's a point there where he asks about truth, and he's I don't understand this line of questioning. Well, when you say truth, that sounds very transphobic. Okay, I want to get something straight here. Hello, Jimmy Das Hotep. I want to get something straight here because here, let me finish this and I'll get something straight about transphobic.
And it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide.
Okay, now this is interesting. She goes from it opens up trans people to violence to 1 in 5 trans people commit suicide. But the question is, does asking factual questions cause trans people to commit suicide? Or does the ideation of suicide happen to trans people anyway? And normally within 7 to 10 years after they transition. So is it a Senate hearing when he's asking about women who get pregnant? Is that causing the suicide? That she's making a very strong correlation, if not causation. She's calling this professor.
So I think it's important.
Because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because deny.
Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
For sponsoring the show, dropping a deuce in the tip jar, who says that, oh, I'm sorry, we need music. This is a music show. Let's not do romantic and sentimental. Let's go more happy again. Well, that's weird. Oh. Black Hebrew Israelite dropping a deuce in the tip jar, saying, this nutty professor has crazy eyes.
That's right.
Men don't. Okay, I'm going to say this in front of my daughter, but it's what he wrote. Alyssa, please forgive me in advance. Men, don't dip your dick in crazy pussy. You'll be paying for it for the rest of your short life. Oh, and I just actually shut that off.
That's right.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite, for your obvious words of wisdom. Okay, let's get back to this. Yeah, she does, well, she's just very intense unintentionally.
Denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm
is
denying that trans
dangerous.
people exist by asking
Are you?
you if you're
Are
talking
you?
about women
Are you?
having pregnancies.
Do you believe
Why
that
is she
there are
asking? Wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Why is she asking questions to him? This is a Senate hearing. He should be asking her the questions. But anyway.
can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can
So
get
you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you
No. Okay. Now, so I'm going to get into this. This is the line of question that you get.
run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you, or are they
Absolutely.
also treated like this, where
No,
they're
they're
told
allowed
that
to
they're
question.
opening up people to
Oh,
violence?
we have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot
I
just in this
know,
exchange.
absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
Ms. Matsky,
So anyway, she was obviously very adversarial. So, oh, thank you, Cryptic. Cryptic's in the house. I didn't even see you drop in, man. Okay, let's get some music for Cryptic. We're going to go with, here, let's go this. We're going to go Dreamy for Cryptic. Cryptic, dropping a big bullet in the tip jar. And Cryptic, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Cryptic says, from Berkeley, California, check. Nose ring, check. A professor, check. Entitled woman, check. I mean, she's the perfect Democrat. Thank you, Cryptic. I appreciate you. As always, sponsor the show. And you're the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Congratulations. All right. All right. So, why is that not working? There we go. So I want to go back through this and just kind of give you a couple 2 cents here, because this professor's, first of all, it's kind of crazy. So the question he
Professor
asked,
Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy.
now she said that several times earlier in the testimony. I saw another clip of her testifying, and so he asked this question.
Would that be women?
But something that
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy.
So, and Dr. Bridges here, no, not Dr. Bridges. Is it Dr. Bridges? She's a professor at Berkeley. When you talk about the definition of women, it's not about whether or not they currently have the capacity for pregnancy, because other than some anomalies, at some point in their life, they had a capacity for pregnancy. They have the proper bone structure, the proper internal organs, the proper, whatever. There's their physiology. They're physiologically women, okay? And then she wants to make the argument, yes, well, there are trans people. Do trans people exist? Yes, trans people exist. And certainly trans people have rights, this and that, whatever. But this woman is saying that obviously, well, she uses arguments that I wanted to get to. So hang on a second.
There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
Okay, so so she's coming into the argument, basically a new phenomenon in human history, where we now define people who think they are something else that which in almost every language there's a name for. In the English language, we call them women. Women are adult human females in the English language, and that's still a definition. But in the last 30 to 40 years, we've begun to say, well, there are people who feel like they're in the wrong body, and they do this, and then they become trans people, right? But from a physiological, traditional use of the English language, where we would call people who are able to become pregnant women, and using that terminology. And now, so some people say, oh, no, there's a new definition, right? But when you're talking in just the general sense, it's not necessarily insulting to say that no, men cannot be pregnant, because a trans woman, her argument is going to be trans women are women, trans men are men. Yeah, in my opinion, now, and in the way the world has worked for centuries and millennia, no, they're not. Now, normally, trans men normally can't get pregnant anyway, although there have been cases, which means they're either not on hormones or they're, but they're still physiologically women. They're physiologically female. And so she's not even, now she's taking this very, what we call trans right activist sort of position that, well, yes, trans men exist, and if you don't believe that men can become pregnant, you are transphobic. So I kind of want to get into the word transphobic. Now, I know that when they say transphobic, they don't mean you're necessarily fearing trans people. They like to say, no, it just means that you being transphobic means you don't believe that trans people exist, or trans people should have rights, or this or that. Well, the problem with that question is you absolutely have a right to identify yourself however you want to, and you all absolutely have the right to forge language that makes you feel better about whatever your personal issues are. But what you do not have a right to do is to force me to validate you. You do not have a right to force me to change a language that I know, that I've used my entire life, that I may do it voluntarily if I have, say I have a working relationship with you, or that it matters to me what you think, but it doesn't mean that my belief is going to change. There's no, you cannot change my internal belief by just demanding that I do. Nor can you change thousands of years of history of my language that I use and the way that I learned to use it. So to demand that I change how I use my language, first of all, is just, well, that's infringing on my rights to determine what comes out of my mouth. And so this whole thing about transphobe, by using the word transphobe, because for whatever reason, these activists have decided that, well, we can make something a phobia, not a fear phobia, but a discrimination phobia, because they've used the word homophobia for so long, and that's a bad thing. So they're accusing you of a bad thing. But every time I hear, well, not every time, but lately, when I hear somebody say, well, that's very transphobic, and I'm beginning, and I hate to have this attitude, but I'm beginning to think that is that a bad thing? Because is this movement, is this ideology, is this activism that is happening right now, is it going too far? Particularly when it comes to kids? Because that's where it seems to be starting to do the most harm. We saw the story about that 25-year-old who detransitioned at 31 after meeting with a therapist 2 times and had any semblance of dysphoria, but was feeling bad, and part of it's probably due to the fact that he was afraid of the relationship with his father because he was gay and he didn't want his father to know. And he meets with a therapist the first time. The very first meeting, the therapist goes, well, maybe you're trans. It's like, wait a minute. I'm what? And then the second meeting convinced the person they were trans. And then the third meeting took them to a doctor who on the first visit, which was already prescribing cross-sex hormones. And it's like, wait a minute. What is going on here? What is going on here? And so this is that whole idea of gender affirming care that they keep talking about. And they're talking about doing this with kids. It's like, wait a minute. Now you can go in and talk to a counselor in your school who can say, well, maybe, oh, you're feeling awkward about some changes in your body? Oh, well, maybe if you're not feeling 100% perfect with everything that's going on with you, maybe you're something else. And we're gonna affirm that feeling and help you change. That can eventually turn into something medical that you're forced to do for the rest of your life. Does any 13-year-old have a concept of doing something for the rest of your life? Anything, be it remembering to brush your teeth every day for the rest of your life. Does any 13-year-old have the concept of that? 13-year-olds have the concept of what's happening between today and Friday when I get out of school because I'm going to go to the pool with my friends. That's about all a 13-year-old has a concept for. But now we're having kids, 13, at some states, 13, they can go get puberty blockers without consent of their parents in some states. So so am I transphobic? Well, I'm not sure that's 100%. It's becoming to a point where that's not a bad thing. But I prefer the word that I'm learning from the gender critical feminist, gender critical. Because it's getting out of hand, and it's going to cause so much pain and suffering to so many people who have been convinced to do things that they're later going to regret. Not used to seeing 20-year-olds with osteoporosis, which is a side effect of cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers. Either way you go, whether you go from male to female or female to male. So it's just so weird. It's so weird. My ex took my daughter to more than 20 therapists until she got what she wanted, a trans kid. Yeah, there's and also, and part of the problem now too is especially in Hollywood. Oh my gosh, you get extra attention. You're extra special if you can be raising a trans kid or a gender nonconforming kid. Oh, you are so wonderful now. Or you have people go down making announcements. Remember Demi Lovato she literally held not a press conference, but she basically made a video announcement of the fact that I am now announcing that I am now non-binary, and that I'm announcing that my new pronouns are they and them. Oh, wow. You got 17 seconds of attention, but then everyone forgot who Demi Lovato was like they already had. But still, she got some attention, boy. She made the front page of every paper in the country. Demi Lovato's non-binary now. Whoop-de-doo. She's still a female. It's not, I'm sorry. That was the funniest thing I ever saw. I'm like, okay. Anyway, let's go through this.
This isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, you're still all trans men and non-binary females are still physiologically female/women, whatever language you use. In my language, that's called women. Okay. Trans men are physiologically women in my language, just like in the Hispanic community, all those Latinx people are still Latinos and Latinas, or in general, Latinos. Even if you like that Latinx thing that you made up, you woke white woman, we're still Latinos.
Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
Because they're talking about abortion, by the way.
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning.
And then she wants to make a point. I want to recognize that your line of questioning is
Transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not.
Now, it opens up trans people to violence. This is that club that they try to use. It's this club that they try to use. That if you don't think my way, you're committing violence. Even though she's used the word opening up, people. Well, how specifically? Yeah, she laughs when she said. She even laughs. She doesn't believe what she's saying. Thank you, Cryptic, one more time for sponsoring the show. And here, let's just do some. I'll just find something down here. And I'll do this one. Cryptic dropping $7.49 in the tip jar. The old Hammer Time donation. Cryptic says, in America, using the metric system can get you in legal trouble. In fact, if you sneer at any other method of measuring liquids, you may be held in contempt of court. Oh, cryptic. Oh gosh, that is funny, Cryptic. You crack me up. In contempt of court. That's awesome. Oh boy. Oh, and thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep. Oh my gosh, with the most patriotic donation of all time. The 1776. Thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep. And Jimmy Das Hotep, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, sir. He says, salute. Appreciate you, P-Dog. Well, I appreciate you too, my brother. Thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep. All right, by the way, Jimmy Das Hotep, I meant to ask you this. I don't know if I've already answered this question. Are you going to be at HotepCon in August? Just curious. I think you said you were going to be there, and I will see you there if you're going to be there. All right. So let's go back to this goofy woman here.
Not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender
okay, we already talked about this.
Attempted suicide.
Yeah, and that doesn't change in whether they're in a supportive environment. In fact, right now it doesn't change. Most of these people were suicidal before they transition. They are suicidal after they transition. It is clearly, even though they don't like to say it's clearly a mental health situation. It's still in the DM5 and the DM4. Either way, they haven't changed it from being a mental health condition.
So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning. So we can't talk about it.
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies.
Do you believe
so
that?
So she's clearly an activist.
Men can get pregnant.
No, I don't think women can get pregnant.
So you're denying that trans people exist?
No. See, that's the other thing. Denying that men can get pregnant does not deny that trans people exist. That's a whole other thing. That's two different questions. Okay. I would say that men cannot get pregnant because I would say a trans man is a physiological female. And I don't say that you're not a woman if you can't get pregnant. That's never been an argument. But women are born with physiological capacity to get pregnant, and sometimes it doesn't work. but they have the parts usually. And if they don't have the parts, there's still ways to determine if someone is a woman, aka female, human female. Just like in any other species, there are males and females. Now, so there are certain species that have different types of reproduction systems, but in mammals and most reptiles and most birds, there are male and female, and there's sex classifications. And in our English language, the men and women, the terms men and women, correspond with female and male classifications. Now, I get it that in order to try to make someone feel better, to try to affirm their feelings, to try to give them affirmation, that people want us to try to use different language, but I don't know the purpose of that. It doesn't even make sense. So there you go.
And that leads to violence. Is this how you run your classroom or students?
Yeah, and also, so that leads to violence part. Well, isn't that leading someone to self-violence? Or because you made it sound like you're committing them to you're subjecting them to external violence. She needs to make up her mind.
Allowed to question you,
Absolutely.
or are they also treated like this?
And then it's obviously a little adversary thing. So anyway, that is why men cannot get pregnant is trending now. So some of the tweets that I'm seeing here, one is just straight up men cannot get pregnant. Josh Hammer, the left, which thinks it got Josh Hawley when he stated the truism that men cannot get pregnant, has some thoughts on radically defining reality. Now, this is interesting. Jill Filipovic. Let me, I did not. I'm going to open this one up separately here just because I never did read what Jill Filipovic said, and she's normally way out there on the progressive end of these types of arguments. So I'm curious what she ended up saying here. So that's why I'm making it a new window so I don't lose the thread. By the way, as you know, all these links will be in the description at the end of the show. I will have them in the one-tab link. So the anti-abortion movement has radically redefined reality. They've invented a whole new language and told a fairy tale of reproduction far outside of scientific consensus and observable fact. And many journalists and politicians have gone along with it. Well, that's interesting because the gender activist movement has also radically redefined reality. They've invented a whole new language and told a fairy tale of human reproduction. Part of like that men can get pregnant? That's funny. I'm curious about this article. I'll leave the article up there. I'm not going to go through it right now. So they think that the radical redefining of reality and language is just on the anti-abortion side of the aisle, or even just the gender critical side of the aisle. That's rich, to be honest with you. Now, there's also this thread. This is interesting. So I'm going to take this one from from backwards to forward, but apparently, there was a line of quote tweeting here. Did I not do it? Never mind. I'm going to skip that. Anyway, just a couple of the thoughts in this thread here. Again, only women can get pregnant. Men cannot. No amount of wordplay changes that fact. It's odd that people who've adopted trust the science as a personal mantra seem to reject human biology. Same goes for those who reject the, quote, big lie, unquote, while claiming men can have babies. So lots of people talking about that. You can go through the thread here. The other thing that's trending that's related to this is trans men. Many people who want to start families, including lesbians, gay men, bisexuals, and yes, transgender people, including trans men. The key tenet of feminism is reproductive justice for all female people. He might be in trouble there for saying that. So yes, abortion on demand, but we must oppose forced sterilization. I'm still confused why anyone with gender dysphoria who identifies as a man, wants to be called a man, and wants to be seen as a man would want to have a baby. I don't know if anyone got the memo, but having babies isn't something we do. It all seems terribly performative. Other people, the amazing Lucas, men can't reproduce, so if trans men are men, then no, they wouldn't be able to reproduce. Just saying that men can't reproduce is not transphobic. It's very confusing, isn't it? Trans men are biological women. Trying to call them a man doesn't change that fact. Your mental delusions do not change the fact that truth, no matter how much you want it to be so. And this one saying trans men do get pregnant, have babies, refusing to call us men won't stop us from getting pregnant, nor stop us from being men. Well, that's kind of definitional there. It's just so weird. Trans men are trans for a reason. We take natal female bodies and masculinize them to the degree we can, but sex signals remain. Shorter height, wider hips, higher vocal pitch, and timbre. Due to shorter vocal cords, smaller hands, we're female no matter what. So this is a trans man who's acknowledging that they are female physiologically, even though they live their life as a male. So all kinds of commentary on that. And then the other thing that is trending on Twitter that's related to that is Twitter hates women. Now, I'm not sure why this was trending, but it's interesting. What are words for when no one listens anymore? It's no use talking at all. Yes, I remember that song. I gotta think. That is not No Fear. What's the name of the group? Had the girl with the fish bowls. What's the name of the band, Advocacy Obli? I cannot remember. And I'm going to kick myself for not knowing this. That's an 80s song. Anyway, Twitter hates women. Stop suspending women for stating the truth. Stop supporting men who are invading women's space. So this person got suspended from Twitter, probably for saying something like trans men are women or whatever, or trans women are men. Indeed, I reported numerous trans cult members for making threats of violence and death against women to be told that their comments do not violate Twitter values, whatever they are. Yeah, there's a lot of trans women who threaten gender critical women, aka they'll call them TERFs and shit like that. Missing persons, thank you. I could not remember the name of that group. Twitter hates women. Mammals on the planet Earth are laughing at humans. Biological males will always be males. They can't give birth to live babies or make milk to feed them. Biological females will always be females, the only sex that grows life. Science, fact, not identity, ideology. Why else does Twitter hate women? I hope she's seeing how much love and support there is for her here. Twitter hates women right enough, and yet she is undeterred and still smiling. Apparently because they keep kicking women off of Twitter who are gender critical and say things to trans women who are harassing them that Twitter doesn't like because it doesn't fit the narrative that they want. Del Rosio, is that her Del Bazio? That's the name. That's her name. Yeah, the lead singer of Missing Persons. Of course, Twitter hates women. It's full of rabid incels with more pronouns than clean underwear. Men who sit around bemoaning the fact that they won't ever be seen as women, edgy, or indeed fuckable. Not our fault. You made shitty life choices that render you repulsive, lads. Okay. Gosh. Some of the gender critical feminists are savage. I'm just saying. And I've gotten to know a couple that I just think they're delightful people, but and I know people who are on the TRA side of the aisle too, who I like too, but I'm sorry, but my language that comes out of my mouth is the language that I know and understand. If someone told me that if I was speaking French, for example, which my daughter speaks French. If I was speaking French and I was a native French speaker, and then suddenly someone came up to me and said, well, you need to change that word because it doesn't fit the sensibilities of our new educated university types, I'd be like, well, go fuck yourself, because this is the language I use. And if you don't like it, then you just don't listen to me or shut the fuck up. Anyway, so, and then you get articles, though, and when she said that you're subjecting trans people, you get articles like this from NBC News. Transgender people in survival mode as violence rises, anti-trans bills become law. Now, it's so weird that they make these claims. The vast majority of violence against trans people are domestic. Like, it's not even close. But here it is. Transgender activists say it's been a heavy year, but they are leaning into community safety building initiatives in the face of record violence. On Saturday, Kay Bell, who will help lead a vigil for Transgender Day of Remembrance, an annual observance to honor the memory of transgender homicide victims that began in 1999. Bell has led these vigils before. He is the executive director of the Knights of Orchid Society, a nonprofit group based in Selma, Alabama, that supports Black, transgender, queer, and gender nonconforming people, and he has been an advocate for more than a decade. But this year will be different. This is literally the first time that I'll have to write down my best friend's name for a TDOR celebration, Bell said, using the initialism of Transgender Day of Remembrance. It's really going to hit differently. Bell's best friend, Mel Groves, died October 11th after having been shot multiple times. Groves, a 25 Black transgender man, was studying plant and soil science at Alcorn State University in Lorman, Mississippi. Just before he died, he was about to become a full-time community garden manager for the Knights of Orchid Society. But on Saturday, Bell will light a candle in Groves' memory. Grove is one of at least 47 transgender or gender nonconforming people. Okay, listen to the number. One of at least 47 transgender or gender nonconforming people, and one of 28 Black trans people to have died by violence in 2021, which has surpassed 2020 to become the deadliest year on record for trans people, according to Human Rights Campaign. Now, in fact, they have a little tracker of fatal anti-trans. Now, it's interesting because they say it's anti-trans violence. And the question Advocatus Diaboli asks, why? Did it have anything to do with that person being trans? And could it be that the number of people who caught up in these situations has increased because the number of people identifying themselves that way has increased exponentially? Because I can tell you, the violence level on all levels in major cities across the nation has risen by a very high percentage. So, and again, the vast majority of violence or, people being killed that are trans are domestic violence. And so what is there a causation here? Are you saying, or is that just happen to be a correlation? It's just weird. State legislatures. Now, a disproportionate number of the deaths have been in the Southeast. Okay. And is there a reason for that? Oh, they're going to say that the Florida Don't Say Gay bill had something to do with it. I doubt it. Doubt it. State legislatures across the country this year have also considered a record number of anti-transgender bills. Are they anti-transgender bills, though? More than 100, many of which target trans youth, specifically trans girls. Oh, you mean those sports ones that the physiological males have to race against physiological males and physiological females have to race against physiological females? How many of those people were killed? How many of those kids were killed because of that? You're saying that that's the violence that's being caused? I don't think so. So then they go on and talk about dead naming, misgendering, clearance rates, whatever. So here it is. This year is on track to be the deadliest for trans Americans, with 47 known deaths in 2021 so far. And this is last year's. And again, if it's corresponding to violence rates for all other populations, and the number of people who are now more and more identifying themselves in this way, does it make sense that you go from 46 to 47, basically, or 42 to 47? You know, I mean, these numbers, you just got to go, okay, as a percentage of the population, is that a high rate or not? Or is it just violence, period? So anyway, I got to finish up because I just realized the time here. The other things I had on the list today that I'm not going to get to fully. This now this is a thread by a trans activist. I'm actually going to finish with that. Let me just give you the two that I'm not getting to. There's another hit piece on Twitter, and it has to do with the January 6th committee in the Washington Post. Twitter went easy on Trump because it relished the power, an ex-employee says. So an anti-Trump Twitter employee has now said that Twitter went easy on Trump because he relished the power. How much credence are you going to give to an ex-Twitter employee, because most of the Twitter employees hated Trump anyway, on testifying before this January 6th committee about Twitter? I'm going to say little to none, but if you want to read the article, I got the archive version right here. And then finally, the other article that I'm not going to get to is about the Big Ten. The Big Ten's adding some new schools, and now they're getting a new media deal that could be worth $1.25 billion annually. The Big Ten deal is expected to be gigantic. They stunned the world of college sports by adding USC and UCLA and bringing in the Los Angeles TV market, and it's expected to pay off in a big way. No big surprise, because that's what they've done. They've expanded to bring in some big TV markets. They added Rutgers and Penn State to get the Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh markets, and then they got Rutgers to get the New York market. They've got Maryland to get the Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Virginia area. They've got UCLA, and USC to get the Los Angeles market. And they already have, Illinois has the Chicago market. So it's, basically the Big Ten is growing their league around giant media markets. I wouldn't be surprised if they drew in some Texas schools just to get the Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio market. So it's just odd. Anyway, I want to just finish with this thread though, because this is one of those typical threads that you see, or typical arguments that you see on Twitter. Whoops, let me go wrong button there. Let's go to this one. Someone named Stephen Porter, and he's very, very, very on the right side of history, who says, don't feign ignorance about Senator Josh Hawley's, quote, questions. He was making a statement. His claim that trans men and non-binary people who can get pregnant are actually women. He's asserting that their reproductive organs define their gender. That's literally transphobic. When people argue this way, I begin to think that transphobic isn't the worst thing you can be anymore. Imagine if Holly were to ask me, don't you think you and your husband are just confused straight men? Really, what does that have to do with pregnancy? His question would clearly be homophobic. Okay, you're starting to put labels on things that aren't unnecessary. If you claim someone is delusional for embracing an LGBTQ identifier, you're being some kind of phobic. Hawley can choose to make transphobic comics. Clearly, he derives some inhumane political benefit in doing so. Really, an inhumane political benefit? How is it inhumane? I'm curious. When he does, such as claiming trans men are delusional women, the non-simpletons among us can and should confidently say that qualifies as transphobia. Oh, so if I don't agree with you, if I think that's the science that is pretty evident, at least as far as the male and female of the species of most mammals, is being a simpleton, and I can't do the nuanced, well, he thinks he's a man. I bet he can't tell you what that feels like because you can't define it. It's just a feeling versus empirical things that I can point to. Well, these 18 characteristics are characteristics of men, aka males. I think I should just have the feeling version. The feeling version is the non-simpleton way of thinking about it. And then that should qualify as transphobia. No, I respect people and I don't care how they feel about themselves. I'm going to respect people who respect me. Doesn't mean I have to agree with all points. And I have no obligation to affirm anybody. Now, I will treat people with respect, but I have no. You're not going to change my mind. You're not going to change my feelings. Maybe you're sympathetic to Hawley's message and bristle at the transphobic label. No, I don't bristle at it. I'm done bristling at the transphobic label. I don't care. You can call me what you want. Then show us what you think it means to treat transgender people with kindness, dignity, and respect. It's called treating them with kindness, dignity, and respect. Doesn't mean I have to join 100% in the delusion. I can treat people with kindness, dignity, and respect, even if I think that they have something that is completely different than what I believe. Show us trans people are your neighbors and constituents, not your wedge issue. Who's making it a wedge issue? Who's making it a wedge issue? Certainly not Senator Hawley. Maybe you object to the orthodoxy of trans-inclusive language. Oh, then show us how to speak thoughtfully about reproductive health care for people who have the capacity to get pregnant and don't identify as women. Well, I don't care what you identify as. We have different definitions. How about you respect my definition of women? Oh, it only works if I respect your definition? As long as you know my definition, then you know what I'm talking about. Do I have to go by your definition? If we understand that we have different definitions. And do you respect that I have a different definition than you do? Or am I required to go by your definition for us to have a conversation? If I'm speaking in German and you're speaking in Mexican Spanish, Mexican dialect of Spanish, as long as I understand your language and as long as you understand my language, we can still have a conversation even though we're using different language. Can we still respect each other if we're using a different language? I can. How about you? Empathy preempts erasure. That's not true. Because I'm not erasing you, but you certainly want to erase my language. I'm not here to tell Hawley what to say. I'm not his speechwriter. That sounds like an awful gig. But I'm also not here to pretend there's any subtlety in his message. He and others are whipping up transphobic rancor for political gain. Are we? Or maybe is there evidence that this ideology that you're trying to put on everybody may cause just as much harm as all the affirmation you're looking for. Can we question that? Do you believe that forcing your language on me makes any of this better? And yes, political rhetoric influences policies and norms that affect especially high rates of violence trans people face. I would, and by the way, that 47 number in 2020, I would say that that's a very low rate of violence towards trans people. But you know what? If you say it's up so much, if you go up, look, from 5 to 10 is a 50% increase. Okay. Well, there can be a 50% increase in violence, still be an insignificant amount of violence within a community. So saying that the rates of violence in 2020 versus the rates of violence in 2021 across the board, well, there's probably some reasons why the rates of violence are lower in 2020 than 2021, because most of the country was hiding from a virus that was sweeping the nation. So there weren't as many people around. So the idea that violence raises between year to year or lowers from year to year can have other factors other than how people are thought of within the community. Could be just that you're inside. Just like violence in the summer months is much higher than violence in the winter months. Why? Because people don't like to go out in the cold. So anyway, Paulie was clearly, and then some of the replies, Holly was clearly referring to sex, male or female, not gender identity, however you define that. Yeah, gender identity means nothing to me in this conversation. Okay. And when I use the term woman, I mean adult human female. I understand that there are trans women and trans men and non-binary people, whatever. But when I'm using that in a legal definition of human biology, physiology, sexual content, or whatever, when I say women, you know that my definition is adult human female. Now, in the context of social mores and whatever, yes, you can say that the trans men can get pregnant and trans non-binary, all the other adjectives they use can be pregnant. But when I'm talking in a Senate hearing about something and I say women, that you know what I mean. Okay? Don't pretend you don't know what I mean. And yes, in the legal sense, at least for now, until the trans activists get all the laws changed, a woman is a adult human female. So, what is this obsession you have, people? I get letting people live their life how they want, but at some point, it all becomes very unhealthy, and I think we are at that point. And then someone put up a dictionary definition of pregnant: of a woman or female animal having a child young developing in the uterus. She was heavily pregnant with her second child. Anyway, that's the definition of pregnant from, I believe, dictionary.com. So anyway, so that now you know why men cannot get pregnant was trending this morning on Twitter. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I need to call it a day. This is I'm well beyond the point where I need to be. So I want to thank you all for being here. If you haven't done so, hit the like button before you go, because I got 29 people in the room now, but only 19 likes. And I know there have been at least 40 or 50 people through here. So hit the like button before you go. Share the stream before, during, and after the show. Put a comment in the comment section if you're watching on replay. And if you want to sponsor the show, at pdawgknight.live is my Streamlabs link. The YouTube Super Chat link's down there on the chat during the show, and there's a couple other options in the description down below. Ladies and gentlemen, I must leave, but thank you to our sponsors first. Tall Person, Tyler Alexander, Black Hebrew Israelite, and Cryptic, and Jimmy Das Hotep, the superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I gotta go. My name is P. Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P. Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P. Dawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P. Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.